Good morning. How are you all? Doing fine? So let us study about components of ecosystem today. There are mainly two types of components in ecosystem. First one is biotic and another is abiotic. The word bio stands for life. So all the living organisms like plants, animals and microorganisms, they form the biotic components of ecosystem. And abio means no life. So all the non-living components of the ecosystem form the abiotic components of ecosystem. Depending upon their feeding habit, that is how they obtain their food from the environment, biotic components are further producers, consumers or decomposers. And abiotic components, air, wind, soil, temperature, humidity, water, light. We will be seeing them all one by one. Now first we will see producers, which is a biotic component. Producers, as the name suggests, one who produce. What produce? Their food. So who produce the food by themselves? Yes, you are right. Plants. Plants are the organisms or the living structures that can make their own food, and therefore they are called autotrophs or producers. They prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide plants obtain from the air, water from the soil, and in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they make glucose, which is their food. This glucose is stored in the form of starch in the plants. And in this process, oxygen and water vapors are released. So, this is all about producers. Next, we will see about consumers. So, all the organisms that cannot make their own food but they depend on plants or other animals for food are called consumers or heterotrophs. Animals that mainly depend on plants for their food, they are called herbivores. So consumers are further different types: herbivores, carnivores, omnivores or scavengers that depend on the plants. They are called herbivores like cow, goat, deer, etc. Then animals that eat other living animals, they are called carnivores. In carnivores, there are some carnivores who eat herbivores. They are called secondary consumers. But carnivores who eat other carnivores, they are called tertiary consumers. And all those animals that eat only plants, they are called primary consumers. Okay. Next are omnivores. Omnivores are those that eat both plants and animals like bear, human beings, crow, etc. Scavengers are those that feed on dead animals. They eat up the dead animals, and vultures are the most common scavengers. Next are the decomposers. So organisms that feed on dead and decaying plants and animals like bacteria and fungi. What they do? They feed on dead and decaying plants and animal parts. They break down the organic matter which is present into the dead and decaying animal parts, and they break down, convert them into the simpler inorganic nutrients, and therefore they are called decomposers. How decomposers are different from scavengers? Scavengers only feed on dead animal. They do not decompose their remains, but decomposers, they decompose the dead and decaying part of the plants and animal. Okay, what happens by this? Because of this, these nutrients which are by the decomposers, they are put back into the soil, air and water for reuse by the plants. Thus, there is a cyclic exchange of materials between a biotic community and its environment in an ecosystem. And these nutrients are constantly recycled and are used again and again. Okay, then abiotic components, air and wind. What is air? It is a mixture of gases. It is made up of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, inert gas, water vapor and dust particle. These are the percentage of different gases which is present in the air. Now, what are their use? Oxygen is used for respiration. We know carbon dioxide is used for photosynthesis by plants. These two gases are constantly recycled between the plants and animals, and thus their balance is maintained in the atmosphere. Then nitrogen is used by the plants and animals. It is an important element of protein synthesis. Moving air is called wind, where wind is used in ecosystem for dispersal of fruits and seeds. It is an important agent of pollination. Now we will see about soil. So the uppermost layer of the soil is called topsoil. It is the uppermost layer of the earth's crust. We see this, what we see is the topsoil. It is darkest in the color. This, how soil is formed? Soil is formed by the weathering of rocks. These rocks which are present below, that is in the bottom layer of the soil, because of physical or chemical factors, these rocks are withered. Withered means broken down, and this become smaller particle, then further withered, and they become very fine particles which form the soil. It takes about thousands and thousands of years to form a single layer of topsoil. Topsoil is very important. Why? Because this topsoil contains minerals, water, and humus. What is humus? Humus is this darkest layer over the topsoil, which contains the nutrients which is formed by the dead and decayed animals and plants remain. Then after topsoil, below the topsoil is the subsoil, which is a little lighter in color. Then below the subsoil is the bottom layer, which is formed by rocks, and therefore this is also called, it is made up of solid rock, so it is also called bedrock. In the soil, a variety of living organisms such as bacteria, fungi, worms, and insects live. Then next component, abiotic component of ecosystem is temperature. You know what is temperature? The degree of hotness or coldness is called temperature. Temperature affects the life of living organisms in an area. It influences the type of animals and plants that live in the place. Like if you go in the polar areas or in an area where there is too much cold, then you will find that there are different types of animals found in that area as compared to desert. Like penguins and polar bears are found in cold places, but not in desert. And desert animals are different, like camels. Okay, so temperature play an important role in the types of animal found in that place. Humidity, the amount or concentration of water vapor present in the atmosphere, is called humidity. Humidity also plays very important role in regulating the life of plants and animals. It is not that a very hot environment or a very cold environment is important for survival of life. No, it cannot be. It is harmful to the plants and animals if the environment or the atmosphere is very hot or very cold. There are some animals who show some different kind of activities for their survival if they are in very hot places, but they cannot withstand that hot temperature, that very intense heat in that area. So what they do, they go for estivation. What is estivation? This is the long summer sleeps taken by some animals such as snails and frogs to avoid intense heat during hot weather. So these animals, they sleep, that is they lie idle during a long time of summer season to avoid the heat which is outside, the intense heat which their body cannot tolerate. Okay, and this process is called estivation. Then there is hibernation. The term hibernation means this is same like estivation, but only difference is that these animals do hibernation during the cold weather, extreme cold season. When there is extreme cold weather, at that time they undertake the long winter sleep. Some polar bear and some rodents, they do this, and this is called hibernation. Next important element or component of abiotic component of ecosystem is water. Water is the means very important for survival of life. We all know that. We also know that a large amount of water is present on earth. About 70% of water is present on earth. That is, earth is having almost 70%. But we cannot use all of them. From that 70% of water on the earth's surface, we can only use 0.01% of water, which is available for human use, and which is the fresh water, which is very important for the survival of life on earth. So the primary source of water, fresh water, is rain. This amount of water available in an area decides the plants and animals that are found there. Next important factor is light. Light, where light is used. First, we know to manufacture food by plants. Then light affects the opening and closing of stomata. Then it affects the movement and flowering in plants, as we have studied that when you grow a plant, the shoot system will always grow towards the light. You know what is shoot system? For example, if this is a seed and a plant is growing out of it, the root will go inside the soil and the shoot will go towards the light. So light affects the movement of plant and flowering. It also affects animal behavior. Like some animals, they do not like the light. Which animals are those? Like earthworms, millipedes, they do not like the light. So they are usually found in dark places inside the soil or in dark storerooms. There are some animals who are active at night, like owls, cockroaches. Okay, they do not need light for their movement, but there are some others who cannot perform their activities well in the dark, like us. So light is also an important factor for ecosystem. You can also see one activity like to show that light is important for the normal growth of plant. If you take two potted plants and keep them one in the well lit place, that is in the sufficient sunlight, and one in the dark, after some time you will notice that the plants which are kept in sunlight grow normally, whereas the plants which are kept in dark corner, they look pale. So what does this activity show? It shows that light is important for the normal growth of plants. So this is all about biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. Now in next lesson we will be seeing how they interact among each other. Till then, study well, revise everything again and stay safe.